Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Bill with arrangement of mandatory consensus from Prime Minister on the decision of Constitutional Council endorsed through Parliament Committee. Increase in mercury affects daily lives across the country, temperature reaching record levels even in the mountainous regions. Fourteen Hong Kong pro-democracy activists found guilty and 2 acquitted in a landmark subversion trial that critics say could deal another blow to the city's rule of law. And Nepal taking on co-hosts of ICC 2020 World Cup, the United States of America, in their second official warm-up match of the mega tournament tonight. The match an opportunity to create momentum. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has said the Madhya province government will be formed as per the equation at the centre. Speaking with the media in Biratnagar, Premier Dahal suggested he was not bothered by the presence of CPN Unified Socialist Chair Madhav Kumar Nepal at the meeting of the opposition parties yesterday.
त्यति असहज मैले ठानेको छैन माधवजी अलि पहिलेदेखि नै उता पनि यता पनि दुवैतिर जोडिने जस्तो देखिएको त थियो तर अहिले बिहान मेरो कुरा हुँदाखेरि माधवजी चाहिँ यो समीकरण भन्दा बाहिर छैन हुँदैन भन्ने कुरामा उहाँले क्लियर गर्नुभएको छ.
Premier Dahal also claimed that production, productivity and employment were at the centre of the government's budget for the next fiscal year. Now, the State Affairs and Good Governance Committee has passed a Constitutional Council bill that would make it mandatory to have Prime Minister's agreement for any decision from the Constitutional Council. The bill tabled at the committee was passed unanimously. In case a consensus cannot be reached at the Council, the decision can be endorsed by the Prime Minister with votes from 50% of incumbent members. CPN-UML had been against the agreed provision but changed its stance only today. Rise in temperature since past 2 weeks has affected daily lives in Sudur Paschim province, including Dhangari. Daily lives of people have become difficult due to extreme heat. The maximum temperature in Dhangari has reached 43 degrees Celsius. Experts have said that people have been experiencing extreme heat as the gap between maximum and minimum temperature of the sub-metropolis has increased in recent time. This has mainly affected daily wage workers, senior citizens and school-going children. With the rise in temperature, movement of people in markets has decreased, while majority of schools have been closed. Meanwhile, all the schools in Madhya Province's headquarters, Janakpur, have been closed due to rising temperature and heat wave. According to Meteorological Forecasting Division, temperatures in all the Tarai districts of Madhya and Sudur Paschim provinces have crossed 40 degrees. Dhangari had recorded the highest temperature of 43.3 degrees Celsius yesterday. Dhangari had recorded the highest temperature yesterday, and various places of Baque also recorded temperatures above 42 degrees Celsius. Baque's Bhaganpur recorded 42.9 degrees, Nepalganj 42.8, Sikta 42, Baijapur 41 and Khajura recorded 40 degrees Celsius yesterday. Ghorahi in Dang recorded 39.8 degrees, while Bhairahawa Airport Station recorded 40 degrees Celsius. Highest temperature of the past 58 years has been recorded in mountainous district of Taplejung. According to the Field Office of Department of Hydrology and Meteorology in Taplejung, temperature stood at 29.8 degrees Celsius on Saturday, 25th of May, and 28.8 degrees Celsius on Wednesday, the 29th. According to the Field Office Chief Devi Dhakal, these temperatures are higher than those recorded 58 years ago in Taplejung. Prior to this, temperature was recorded at 28.7 degrees Celsius in the month of May, way back in 1966. Taplejung headquarters, Phungling, is located at an altitude of 1700 meters above the sea level. The Ministry of Home Affairs has formed a task force to determine the retirement age at Nepal Police and Armed Police Force. The government has also already announced through its budget for the next fiscal year that it will revise the existing 60-year limit of head of Nepal Police and Armed Police Force and also that of the officers. A 7-membered task force under the leadership of Joint Secretary Jhaku Prasad Acharya has been formed to make recommendations for the same. The team also has members from Nepal Police, Armed Police, Finance Ministry and the Home Ministry. It will furnish report within 1 month. Legal provisions require those serving in both the entities to retire once they have served for 30 years or if their age limit has been reached ahead of serving for 30 years. In order to change the provision, the Act will need to be amended. The private sector has said that the government's budget for the next fiscal year is realistic and balanced, however added that there are challenges in its implementation. Speaking at an interaction program organized by the Nepal Association of Financial Journalists, businessperson said that the government should emphasize on ensuring the budget's implementation. Minister for Finance Barshaman Pun said the government's budget for the next fiscal aimed at raising production and protecting industries. He, however, admitted that the economy had stagnated, which limited the government to take a new approach with the budget for the next fiscal year. The minister also said that the government would hold consultations with the private sector and industrialists to export IT services worth 3 trillion rupees in 10 years' time. It is time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, why have those issued arrest warrant against for their alleged involvement in the irregularities related to the land of Bal Mandir still not been held? Your options are A. Home administration unwilling, B. Political influence, and C. Investigation underway. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Pre-monsoon expedition season of Mount Everest is about to conclude. Many mountaineers have made records this season. In addition to trained and experienced mountaineers, many tourists across different Asian countries have reached the Everest base camp this season. Such diverse demography of those hiking and trekking in the Everest region is an evidence to the fact that adventure is not just for the youth.
Highest mountain of the world, Mount Everest is a dream destination for most people of the world. Everest is a dream, an adventure, and an accomplishment. Tourists from across the world reach the Everest base camp with the objective of reaching the highest peak of the world, or the least of making it to the base camp to have a close-up view of Everest. Located at an altitude of 5,364 meters above the sea level, the Everest Base Camp witnesses the footfall of people from different parts of the world across different age groups.
I am coming with my father, mother and my brother. We are in a whole family and I am 10 years old and I am coming back from EBC.
The Everest Base Camp can be reached after an 8-day trek from Lukla. The enthusiasm and excitement injects energy among everyone. This enthusiasm and excitement lasts until the return to Lukla after making it to the base camp. Tourists of all age groups can be found with such energy.
I'm from Seattle, Washington in the United States. I also am 65 years old. We're on a quest to conquer these beautiful mountains in the Himalayas. Everyone has been delightful, engaging, lovely, welcoming.
Age is not an hindrance to energy. Those who embark on a new journey can only relish the beauty of the destination. During the process, they learn new languages and become aware about the geography. This adds more value to the experience.
It was a really good experience. It was really cold, but not that hard.
Hiking and trekking are not the only targets of reaching the destination. They're also the processes of weaving memories along the way and gathering more courage while witnessing the beauty of the immaculate views. Therefore, let age not be an obstacle for us to reach the Everest Base Camp, at least for once in our lifetime.
Nepal Electricity Authority has resumed export of electricity to India as the flow of waters in river have gone up in recent days. The sales of surplus energy resumed since Monday. Around 400 megawatts electricity is being exported on a daily basis. Nepal has received approval for 656 megawatts electricity from 15 hydropower projects, of which 586 megawatts is being transmitted from the 400 kilovolt Dhalkebar Muzaffarpur transmission line and 70 megawatts from 132 kilovolt Mahendranagar Tanakpur transmission line. The Nepal Electricity Authority during winter had imported power worth 15 billion 210 million rupees from India, which was for 1,814.8 million units of electricity. Since May last year, the authority has exported electricity worth 15,622 million rupees to India. The authority exports electricity to India for 9 rupees 2 paisa per unit and imports at the rate of 8 rupees 38 paisa. The authority claims Nepal will be a full exporter of electricity from this year. Digging of the tunnel under the 900 megawatt capacity Arun 3rd hydroelectricity project has been completed. According to the Indian entity, shouldering the construction responsibility of the project, construction works of 11.78 kilometers long tunnel have been completed. According to the entity, Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal is to administer the breakthrough of the tunnel at Phyakshinda on 4th of June. The construction company has claimed that around 75% works of construction of infrastructures of Arun 3rd, including tunnel, powerhouse and dam, among others, have become complete. The Janakpur Customs Office has confiscated cashews and raisins worth 2.32 million rupees being brought from India illegally. Customs officials, based on a tip-off, took control of the truck full of the illegally brought goods from near Pulchok of Janakpur Dham, sub-metropolis, Ward number 1. The truck carried 2,100 kilograms of cashew nuts and 540 kilograms of raisins. The Customs Office has determined the value of the truck and the goods at a total of 5.5550 million rupees, including 3.224 million rupees for the truck, and has moved ahead with the processes for necessary actions. Customs officials have suspected involvement of local police in the smuggling. Let's move on to international update. 14 Hong Kong pro-democracy activists were found guilty and 2 were acquitted on Thursday in a landmark subversion trial that critics say could deal another blow to the city's rule of law and its reputation as a global financial hub. The verdicts in Hong Kong's biggest trial against the Democratic opposition come more than 3 years after police arrested 47 Democrats in dawn raids at homes across the city. They were charged with conspiracy to commit subversion under a national security law imposed by China. Sentencing will come at a later date for those found guilty, with prison terms ranging from 3 years to life for this offense. 31 defendants pleaded guilty, and 4 of them have become prosecution witnesses. The United States and some other countries have criticized the trial as politically motivated, calling for the accused to be immediately released. Diplomats from several countries, including the US and the EU, attended the hearing. The defendants are accused of a vicious plot to paralyze the government in the former British colony and force the city's leader to resign through a pre-selection ballot in a July 2020 citywide election. The Democrats maintain it was an unofficial attempt to select the strongest candidates in a bid to win a historic majority in Hong Kong's legislature. Several defendants, including activist Owen Cham, who is 27 years old, and Gwyneth Ho, who is 33, appeared stony-faced in the dock as the verdicts were delivered to a packed courtroom. Those convicted also include former Democratic lawmakers Leung Kwong-hung, Lam Chuk-ting, and Helena Wong. It was not clear whether any would appeal. 68-year-old Leung is the oldest defendant. Now, as an extreme heat wave continues to broil over millions of people in India, public health experts said today that they expect heat-related health impacts could continue, including hospitalizations and mortalities over the next days, even if temperatures begin to recede. The temperature in Delhi reached a record high of 52.9 degrees Celsius in the Mungeshpur neighborhood yesterday, while parts of northwest and central India have been experiencing heat wave to severe heat wave conditions for weeks. India's capital Delhi recorded its first heat-related death this year, where a 40-year-old laborer who died of heat stroke yesterday, the Indian Express newspaper reported. The Indian Meteorological Department has said that a confluence of weather patterns has driven up temperatures. Summer temperatures often peak in May during May in India, but the IMD predicted 7 to 10 heatwave days in the northwestern regions this month compared with the usual 2 to 3 days. This was largely due to fewer non-monsoon thunder showers and an active but weakening El Nino, a climate pattern that typically leads to hot and dry weather in Asia and heavier rains in part of the Americas. Warm westerly winds blowing in from Pakistan also contributed to the heat. Other parts of India have already seen summer temperatures climbing to record peaks, including eastern and southern India, where temperatures in April were among the highest on record. Chinese President Xi Jinping has emphasized China's continued support for Palestine's statehood and full membership in the United Nations. Addressing the ongoing China-Arab States Cooperation Forum in Beijing, he emphasized that China's support for Palestine's full membership in the United Nations remains. He also highlighted China's willingness to establish close relations with the Arab countries. The topic of the ongoing war between Palestine and Israel was the main priority in that forum. He pointed out that Israel's war in Gaza cannot be continued indefinitely and an immediate ceasefire initiative is necessary. Similarly, he emphasized that the two-state policy would solve the problem between Israel and Palestine and should not be ignored. From that platform, Chinese president announced that he would provide $3 million in aid to the United Nations agency, UNRWA, for Palestinian refugees. He also promised Chinese support for the reconstruction of Gaza. Xi addressed the heads of state of Bahrain, UAE, Tunisia, and other foreign ministers of the Arab League during the meeting. Nepal's men's national cricket team are set to play their second official warm-up match of the ICC 2020 Cricket World Cup against mega tournament co-host, the United States of America. The USA are high on confidence after winning their recent series against test nation Bangladesh. Nepal's star all-rounder Dipender Singh Aidi, who was injured, is set to play tonight. After being thrashed by Canada in their first official warm-up match of the ICC 2020 Cricket World Cup by a huge margin of 63 runs, Nepal's men's national cricket team will be aiming to make amends and gain some momentum ahead of the mega tournament. Team Nepal had held their optional practice session yesterday to prepare for the match against USA, who are fresh from their historic series win over test nation Bangladesh. Nepal's captain Rohit Paudel has said that the warm-up matches against Canada and the USA are of great significance. He went on to add that these matches have been great opportunities to make final preparations for the World Cup. Prior to Nepal's match against the USA, another associate nation, the Netherlands, saw off test nation Sri Lanka by 20 runs. Placed in the same group, the Netherlands are also likely to pose great challenge to the Rhinos. Team Nepal need to improve their batting display if they are to do well at the World Cup. Skipper Paudel has expressed confidence in Nepal's batters and shared hopes of improvement in their performance. He also stressed on the need for the openers to do well and score runs in the power play. In the bowling department, Skipper Paudel has identified areas for improvement in the death overs. Meanwhile, star player Dipender Singh Aidi, who had missed the preparation matches because of an injury, is set to make a comeback in the match against USA. The match, which will be played at the Grand Prairie Stadium, will begin at 9:15 tonight, Nepal time. Meanwhile, spinner Sandeep Lamichhane has been denied a visa to the USA for the T20 World Cup once again. Moving on, local wildcard Vahine Fierro won the Seychelles Tahiti Pro in pumping serve at her home break of Teahupo, establishing herself as a favorite for gold when the Paris Olympics kick off at the same venue in 2 months' time. Fierro, who is not on the top-tier World Championship Tour but has qualified to represent France at the Olympics, was unstoppable in the heaving tubes as waves reached heights of 4 to 5 meters. She easily won a lopsided quarterfinal against Australian charger Molly Picklum and then squeaked through one of the heats of the year against Brazilian Olympian Tatitana Western Webb. The lead changed several times as both women threw themselves over the ledge and the powerful waves scoring deep barrels in between some heavy wipeouts. Western Webb looked to have done enough with a perfect 10-point ride late in the heat for a late takeoff and huge tube described by broadcast commentators, in fact, as the best wave ever caught in women's surfing competition. But with seconds remaining, Fierro took off another giant wall and got a long tube to secure the win. In the final against Costa Rican Olympic surfer and current world number 1, Brisa Hennessy, Fierro again caught the biggest and best waves, finishing with a 15.17 total out of 20 to claim the title. Towards the men's side of the draw, Californian rookies Crosby Colapinto and Cole Hoshman put on the two biggest two-wave heat scores of the day, both topping 17 points out of a possible 20 to win their respective heats. The men's final rounds are expected to take place on Thursday, later today, with more huge swells and epic conditions forecast. Now, before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.